Hannah, I heard some things from my husband about your daughter there. Mai is going to be getting married. How's it going, Lisa? That's right. I was able to meet with her fiancé just last month and got to know about him a little more and about what he does for work. Don't you think that's a little strange that he'd be meeting you all first and you'd never say a thing to me? Why am I having to hear about all of this from my husband about your daughter getting married? Why would all of this be going through my husband first before I was ever aware of any of it? I'm sorry about that. I was thinking about having you meet her fiancé and telling you the news, but Maya's good friends with your husband. And when he came here last time, she might have told him the news in person. After all, she sees him at least once per month, and they like to go out to lunch and talk about life and everything that's been happening to them. And that's what I'd expect from your daughter. She'd rather talk to him more than her own grandma, just like you. Why do you all keep me out of the loop so often, after all the work I've done? I don't think that it's out of any spite towards you though, Lisa. It might just be that she happens to share a lot of interests with him. The both of them do really love to be around one another a lot, right? So it only makes sense that she tells him first. It's been a long time since you both last met, and Mai doesn't really text or anything like that much, so she wouldn't have thought to text you about it. But I've been the one that's given her the most attention compared to anyone else. When she needed help studying, I've been there to help teach her all sorts of things. You make a good point. And I'm thankful for all that you've helped her with. But in her case, she's a busy woman, and so she doesn't always think to tell everyone about things the moment they happen. She's getting around to sending the invitations for the wedding soon, so you would have found out eventually. Well, I guess me putting in all that effort was all for nothing in the end. I was so hopeful for her future because she's just as smart as my son. But then you guys let her go to a trade school instead of into university. I think that's a huge waste of money that you've just caused right there. And now she's going to lose all the potential she had. I'm sorry. But even after that, Mai has been doing great with the job she's found. So saying that we wasted all of that money, well, it's a bit rude, especially when you don't really go out to see the person she's become now. She's doing great, huh? She ended up giving up on her job in the fashion industry, right? And that's the reason she needs to get married now, right? I knew that would happen because nobody cares about hiring for the fashion industry anymore. No. She is still young and full of energy. And she's still working hard in her career of being a fashion designer. And I've heard from her that even after having kids, she still plans to work in the field, so that she can enjoy what she loves doing. I think she's been into fashion all her life now, and has even studied a lot of it in her free time while she was still in middle and high school. So her giving up on it over money or anything like that doesn't seem like the kind of thing she'd be willing to do. Even though she's never going to have a chance to be rich now, right? These days, designing clothing is such a low-paying job. And most of the time, the people mass-producing the clothing in factories are making more than those that actually try to create some sort of new fashion line. Well, that all depends on what company she is a part of and what she's designing. She might just end up like my mother and be so good at fashion design that she even opens up a business of her own. If she manages something like that, then she can be her own boss and have a good chance of becoming rich. But remember, I think she'd be more into this line of work because she loves to design clothing. And so if the pay isn't that great, she's going to continue doing it. Look, back then designing clothing was a huge deal, and so your mom had the luck of opening a business. But these days, trying to do something like that will only drive her into debt. There's no way she could do what was done back then. The times have changed. But it is nice that your mother plans to leave a lot of money when she passes for all of us. And I'm thankful for that. Oh, don't tell me that Mai is doing all that work now like your mother because of the money she will leave behind. Maybe that's why she wants to become a fashion designer like her. That way your mom will take a bigger interest in her and fork her over a bit more money in the will. I don't think that's the reason Maya's going into the field. She's been into fashion longer than she's known about my mom's money, so...
Who knows though, right? After all, she is the daughter of someone that never went to school. So she has to find easy ways to get money like you did. Now that I think about it, your mom really spoiled you back when you were growing up, right? Really, I feel so bad for Mai that she's turned out more like you than my son. She could have gone to a wonderful university and studied in something that would have gotten her a well-paying job like her father.
I think that Mai has a lot in common with her dad, though. I'm awful at things like fashion or arts, unlike he is. He's the kind of guy that's always been really good at designing and crafting things.
And that's because my son is good at everything. And that's why he's working for a famous company now and making the money that you get to live off. Him being able to take care of you after all the mistakes you've made is due to me being a great mother for him.
I suppose that could be so. Thank you for raising him.
If you want to show your thanks towards me, then you should do a bit more than just say it. Take me on vacations with you guys, or give me presents every now and again. You should be doing a lot more for me, actually. Right now, my life is becoming a bit tight, as my husband's not making much anymore. Your mother has all that money, so maybe it's time you start to give us an allowance in advance before you get a lot more in her will. Or at least take me overseas somewhere nice for a change, so that I can really see how much you feel thankful for me.
Is that what you want? But at the moment, we are a bit tight ourselves.
Right, because Mai is going to be getting married soon, right? Right now, most young people don't have a lot of money, and so I'm sure her and her fiancé don't have much to spend on their wedding. That's too bad. You happen to raise a daughter that's going to cause you all sorts of trouble. I'm sure you already know this, but my son never took any of our money his whole life. He was never needy and asked for lots of toys. And when he went to university, he was on a full-ride scholarship, so we didn't have to do anything for him then either. And when you both had your wedding, your mom and him paid for it, right? You never spent a penny on it. I knew it. That the future of one's child all depends on how amazing the mother is.
I think that Mai's fiancé is doing his best right now, and that him and her will make something work.
Okay, I get it. I won't bother the two of you anymore, but I'll keep praying that some of that money from your mom comes for all of you as soon as it's distributed by her lawyer. Hannah, I just got that invitation from Mai regarding her wedding. What is up with this?
Did something happen to it? I know that sometimes the mail service can be a bit rough with envelopes. So, if it's all bent or something, let me know and I'll have her send you guys a new one.
I'm questioning the place that she'll be having her wedding at. That place is insanely pricey because of how famous it is. I've seen all sorts of documentaries about it on the TV, and I know that it takes 1-2 years in advance to get reservations there, right?
Now that you mention it, she did tell me about how nice the wedding hall will be. But she told me that every so often someone will cancel and the date will open up. She was super lucky, wasn't she?
Do you know how much it'll cost to afford a place like that?
I haven't really talked with her yet about the cost of having a wedding there.
I know for a fact that it'll at least be $30,000 just to have the reservation for the place. Then you have to think about the cost of the decor there that they'll want. And I'm sure the food will cost even more than the rest of the wedding combined. By then, you're looking at over $80,000 on that wedding.
Is that so? You know a whole lot about that place, huh, Lisa?
What is with that remark? Do you think that a price like that isn't extremely high? I get that you've had everything handed to you all your life, but some of us actually understand money and that it doesn't grow on trees.
Well, whether it is or isn't, this is a once-in-a-lifetime thing for most people. So I think it's perfectly fine to let them have their special day where they'd like to have it. And spend as much as they're willing to.
That's far too much money for two kids that don't have much. Are you and my son really going to be able to afford a place like that? And I heard that her dress is going to be crafted by a very well-known dressmaker. You all are acting crazy right now.
Well, she was able to find that place by being a fashion designer herself. So, of course, she'd like to have someone she knows she can trust to be the ones making her dress.
It's because of you having your head in the clouds that your daughter has chosen a place that expensive. I'm telling you right now that the wedding she's having is too much. You guys should be trying to help her by having a more realistic wedding, right? And if you have the ability to afford all of this with my son's earnings, then you have enough money to give me and my husband a monthly allowance.
This and that are two very different things.
There's nothing different between them. If you have all of that money right now, then you should be giving it to me.
Are you really having that much of a financial struggle? The last time I met with you, you told me how much high-brand accessories you had bought from the mall.
I bought all of them because they had gone on sale. With whatever I had in my savings, I was only able to get 2 necklaces and a coat. And my husband has told me that we can't go on vacation this year. Do you not feel bad for me?
If you have that kind of money to buy all those branded things, even if on sale, then I don't really think I need to feel bad for you.
Hannah, don't tell me you like to watch as the elderly struggle to stay happy and alive. Especially when I'm your own mother-in-law. You're asking me to live the rest of my life like I'm living in poverty.
No, that's not at all what I want to see. I'm just saying that if you're able to buy things that are really expensive and have to give up a vacation for that, that seems pretty reasonable to me.
I don't have a reason to have to give up a vacation just because I wanted these things, right? I cannot believe the way you're thinking of me right now. If you're willing to waste all of that money on someone that has no future with their fiancé, then you should be able to support my husband and I financially. All right? I'm asking you to give me some money right now. And you tell my son all of this as well for me.
Lisa, what have you gone and done? Why did you think it was okay to do something so vile leading up to my daughter's wedding?
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
Stop trying to play dumb with me. I'm talking about what you did to my daughter's dress.
What happened to Mai's wedding dress?
I just got a call from one of the employees at the wedding hall. She told me that the dress she'd been preparing for Mai was all torn up and ruined.
Oh? Oh no, that's not good at all. Well, now that her beautiful, handmade dress has been ruined, she'll have to cancel her wedding tomorrow, right? That dress was supposed to be the spotlight of the wedding, right?
This was all because of you, right? You're the one that came and tore it up.
And what are you saying right now to your own mother-in-law? Who is being the vile one right now?
I have evidence that you did it. There are security cameras in place all around the wedding hall. There is video of you coming into the hall through the back emergency exit.
Are you sure that's not someone else that happens to look a little like me? They say there are at least 3 people in the world that end up looking similar to one another.
Is that so, Lisa? Well, if I have to call the police to come and look, I'm sure we can figure everything out. I should have them look into this now, right?
You're going too far asking the police to come for something like that.
Then you need to comply with me. I don't want things going too crazy during one of the most important weeks for Mai.
Alright, look. I just wanted to come in and make her dress look even more amazing than it already was for her. It's an older style of wedding dress that I've made for her.
That wasn't your intention, Lisa. This is all because you were upset that my husband and I said no to giving you any money when you asked us, right?
What? So that's what you figured?
And now you've harmed Mai when she had nothing to do with it. She is your son's daughter, your granddaughter.
Well, your daughter having a dress that beautiful is too much. And having the wedding at a place like that is just outright stupid. You need to learn where to draw the line. But it's because you didn't stop her from choosing a place like that and getting that dress this has happened.
You're done for, Lisa. The one that made that dress for Mai was my mother.
Uh-huh. She made that for her? That has to be a lie, right?
I'm not lying. Her and my mom worked together to make up a design for it. And then my mom went ahead and made that all by herself. And now, none of us are going to forgive you for what you've done. And of course, your son and me feel that same way.
And what is your mother even going to be able to do about this? She's in her 80s now and on her way out, right? Her being upset with me isn't going to scare me.
You haven't spoken or met with her in a very long time now, so you have no idea what's been going on with her. She may not come out of the house much anymore, but that doesn't mean that she's been on her deathbed. And I think she has the power to make you understand that.
No matter what a grandma like her could try and do, I'm not going to lose to her. Tell her to not get too worked up over this or she might end up injuring herself, okay?
All right then. Don't forget about anything that's been said today, okay? Also, do not bother coming to the wedding tomorrow. If you do manage to still come, you will be kicked out.
Uh-huh, but the wedding tomorrow should be getting canceled now, right? What is Mai going to do for a dress now?
She had some other dresses she'd been working on. And so right now, all of them are working together to finish up a new dress for her to wear tomorrow. They're all pros after all, so they'll make it happen.
Oh no, making her grandma do all that work for her is going to be detrimental to her health, right? I think this might be the last dress your mother ever works on. And as for the wedding, I never planned on coming in the first place, so don't worry about me. I never wanted to celebrate her marriage at all. Hannah, I have something to ask of you. Can I have you come between me and your mother?
Lisa, do you really think that I'm going to come and help you? You went and destroyed my daughter's dress that was made by her grandma for her.
And right now, I've really started to regret all of that. And later, I'd like to go to Mai and tell her I'm sorry about that.
And you think you should be apologizing to Mai before you apologize to my mom?
Ah, that's right. I'm sorry. I'll be apologizing to the both of them after I took things a little overboard.
Are you saying that you want to apologize only because your husband is asking to divorce you?
So you know about all of that now?
I do. Right after the wedding was over, your husband came up to us, and we all talked about what he was going to do about you.
I'm sorry, but I don't think that my loving husband would ever really want to divorce me over something as meaningless as this. This is all happening because of your mom, right?
No, this is what he wants. My mom only asks that he do so as soon as possible, because she expects that you might go out of control if he doesn't get rid of you in the next couple of weeks.
So she was pretty much making him think about divorcing me.
Nope. This whole time your husband has been worried about how much money you use. My mom was able to open a business of her own and has a lot of money at her disposal. But in your husband's case, he's just a normal employee, and so he doesn't have the kind of money my mom has. Yet, you continued to think that one day my mom would pass, and that the money would come from her and I'd be willing to give some of it to you. And that's why you've been overspending.
Well, that's because back in the day your mother spoiled you so much with her money. And so I thought that when she passed you'd be the same way and spoil me with that money.
My mom has only been spoiling me with money so that I could use it to make sure that Mai was raised in a great home. But in your case, you don't know how to spend your money that you get from your husband, and just spend it all on clothing and accessories. And after your husband learned that you wouldn't stop buying unnecessary things, he stopped giving you money.
Shut the hell up! People that have a lot of money should be okay with giving others their money to spend. And I'm all of your family.
And it's because you are family that we shouldn't have to give you money that you'll just end up wasting. And from what I've heard as well, you barely even do any chores in your house and just go out to play with all your time. So, do you really think my husband and I want to give you any money now?
I'm not just using all the money on myself, though. I made sure back in the day to give the money my husband gave me to my son so that he could go to a good school.
And that was all to get him into a famous university so that one day you could use him as something to brag about to all your friends, right? That's how your son has always thought of the relation he had with you.
And I was also there to pay for Mai to get lessons in piano and ballet, right? I even introduced her to some very amazing teachers.
Mai was never into piano or ballet though, Lisa. All you did was waste your money forcing her to go to something she didn't care about. And as for those amazing teachers you found for her, they barely knew how to teach her the way she learned, so that was another waste.
I thought that I was helping by doing all of that for her.
My husband and I told you to stop plenty of times though, right? Yet you never once listened to either of us.
Hey, do you really think it's okay for my husband to want a divorce now? I have been trying my best to be a good wife and mother.
Well, it seems he's had enough of your selfishness. And you pushed him to his limit when you chose to destroy his granddaughter's dress. So I think him throwing you away is the right thing to do now.
Hannah, I will change my ways from now on. I'll even make sure that any money I get from you guys now goes into my savings and is used on only necessary things. And I'll no longer say rude things to you. And I'll think about Mai more and apologize to her for what I've done. So, can we find some way to allow me one last chance to change my ways? I don't even need your mom to forgive me, just as long as I have the chance to show her that I can be better.
The reason you don't want your husband to leave you isn't because of love or anything like that. You just want to stay a part of the family so that you can have some of whatever money my mom leaves when she passes, right? I've made sure to tell everyone that you've been eyeing her money. So stop thinking that we're going to give you any more chances to be a part of this family.
I'm so sorry. Please, I'll do anything you ask of me, so help. If I'm divorced at this point in my life, I'll never be able to make it on my own.
Well, this is what has happened after the path you choose to take. And the rest of the family has no more hope of you being a decent human being in our family. So go ahead and finish the rest of your life somewhere where you'll never get in the way of us again. From there, Lisa and her husband had a divorce, and her husband left the house that they had both been living in. The house was the one part of her divorce that her husband was willing to give her. And even though she kept asking for some of his money, his lawyer said that the house was worth more than what she deserved. She may have thought that after so many years of being married to him, she would at least get a large amount of money in a divorce. But because of the dress that she had ruined, which would be considered vandalism, the lawyer said it was being charged with that or get nothing else from her husband. She ended up selling their house after the divorce and made quite a bit for it in today's housing market. But it still wouldn't be enough to help her have a happy life with however many years she has left. So if she can't find a way to get a job or someone willing to marry her at the age she's at, she won't be around for much longer before being on the streets. Also, after the divorce, Lisa's husband, my mom, and the rest of us all blocked her number and cut ties from her. But every so often, we hear from her friends, or others that we know as well as her, that she will ask them for help. But unfortunately for her, there isn't one person willing to help her with money after the story they've all heard. I'm not sure what'll happen to Lisa going into the future, but what we do know is that she'll never be allowed to talk to any of us ever again. I'm not sure how much us not helping her or even talking to her has ruined her life, but it's what she gets for acting the way she did around us. As for my father-in-law, we had been talking with him, asking if he'd like to move in with us since our daughter would now be living with her husband. But just before we had settled to have him move in, my mom said that she'd provide a house for him to move into. Although not as big as the last house he had. My mom jokes a little about how she didn't want him ruining our privacy after we'd finally gotten rid of our daughter. But really, it was so kind of her to do something like that for him. And I still cannot believe that my daughter and all her coworkers and my mom were able to manage getting her a new dress in time for her wedding. Even though Lisa almost ruined what was my daughter's beautiful day, it was great to see she didn't ruin it and that Mai was able to still smile on her wedding day. As for the real reason that I had never given any money to Lisa when she was still around us, it's to do with my mom and my husband always telling me to never give her anything. And I never got to tell Lisa this, but we never paid for her wedding either. Rather, it was all paid for by Mai and her husband. But had Lisa known that Mai and her husband had the money to pay for all of that, she may have tried to start begging them and harassing them for their money. And so, I'm so happy that I never let that information slip to her. Or else things might have turned out a bit worse for us all. I think that right now a lot of younger people are having a hard time with money and handling the world they're entering into. And so if my daughter did ask for our help paying for the wedding, I wouldn't have even thought to say no to her. And just to make sure that if she ever does need some help from us, that we have money saved up just in case. I don't think it's a bad thing at all to get financial help from your parents or family every once in a while. But to abuse it like Lisa tried to do will only put you into hell.